What up? Welcome to Recovering Addict. I'm LT, and I'm a freaking alcoholic and an addict.
I'm Felice, married to this handsome fella right next to me.
Yes, that is true. If this is your first time watching, we are a show about recovery. I'm going to get this over with really quick. 2 times in my life, I hit rock bottom. Meth and alcohol destroyed me a couple of times, and I've been a drunk partier. It's unbelievable when I wrote down my timeline how much of my life I wasted using drugs or drinking, right? So that's what this show's about, recovery. I had to climb out of recovery. My wife had to recover from my addiction. My kids had to recover from the neglect and addiction that I had. So that's what this show's about. We go through educational books and we support each other. We're a community. We just come on here live and talk about it, but there's a community greater than us that holds this up, and it's a whole recovery community that has multiple live streamers. And so whatever you need, we can help get you the help you need. And that brings me to the point that I want to bring today. We have a guest behind stage. We haven't talked to her for a minute, so let's bring on Nicole. What's up, Nicole?
Hey, Nicole.
What up? What up, y'all? What's going on? Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to come talk to you guys, for real.
Yeah, we haven't had you on for a minute. We've all been busy doing other stuff. I know you've been working with like Dr. B, and I've been working with a couple of other IOPs. That'd be fun to bring you on and let all our new people hear what you got to offer, because you are really supportive with the maritime stuff and the maintenance aspect of it, where I'm the alcohol and she's the Al-Anon. Just maybe if you want to recap your story, and then we'll get into what you've been doing and all that kind of good stuff. And before I get in there, you guys, it's not too late to jump into the Discord and ask a question. And 15 after all, or whenever, I'll bring it up and you can ask Nicole a question in there, or just in the comments too, whatever.
And if you're not in the Discord, here you go. Here's the link.
Yeah.
So you want me to tell? I'm going to try and stay short-winded because I'm very long-winded.
Now you do whatever you want.
Okay, so I started using drugs when I was younger, like 17 years old, you guys. I started using because I didn't feel like I fit in. I was always just different than everybody else. I've always struggled with my weight. I've always been a little bit on the thicker side, and that caused me grief. Like, I was always super self-conscious about it. So probably about 17 years old, I met this guy. I just started out drinking and partying, I was on the cheer team. I was on band. I played fast pitch softball. I was really active in different extracurricular activities, but I was using because I was partying, and I just moved up the line on different drugs. Like, I started using stimulants, cocaine, methamphetamine. And by the time I graduated high school, I was a methamphetamine addict. I was every day, 18 years old, smoking meth, going to work, smoking meth, driving my car, smoking meth. Probably like 22, 23, I got into a relationship with a guy, and everybody warned me. They told me not to date this guy, that he was abusive and that he would beat me. And I didn't believe them. I didn't listen. And so me and him got together. I started injecting methamphetamine and using opiates and other benzos and stuff like that, drinking, just anything I could get my hands on. Then he started beating me up, and I stayed there for like 6 years in that relationship while this guy beat me to so much, you guys. It was horrible. It was horrible. But I stayed with him. The reason why I'm telling you guys this is because I stayed with people that treated me bad all the time, because I didn't love myself, because I didn't have respect for myself, because I didn't think I was good enough. And so that's like a reoccurring theme in my life, is having people around me that I was being hurt by, or I was hurting them, or we were hurting each other. So I got out of that relationship because he left me, go figure. And I went downhill, and I got really bad on injecting oxys and meth and eating Xanaxes all day, every day. And I ended up going to prison. I got charged for possession of a controlled substance in 2008. I was put on probation for 3 years. I made it to 2009. And then my probation officer sent me to prison because I kept failing my drug tests. I came out of prison, and I paroled up to this place where you could stay sober, a sober living house. And I did really good there for like 9 months. And because I got involved in AA, I started working the 12 steps. I started going to meetings. I got a sponsor, and I did really, really good. I got a full-time job. I was making good money, and little by little, my job like started taking priority, and I stopped doing my recovery, and I relapsed. And I didn't come back to getting sober until 2015. When I met my husband in 2012, we got pregnant in 2013 and had my little boy in 2014. I was strung out on the needle. I gave birth to my son high under the influence of methamphetamines, and I was so afraid they were going to take my little boy away, but they didn't. I was able to take my son home that night, or 2 nights later, because they held me in the hospital. They had to stitch me up and all that kind of stuff. But I went home and I said, I'm never using drugs again. Now I have this baby. I have to take care of him. He relies on me. And I sobered up for about 90 days. And it was not like I sobered up and I was doing anything with myself. I was white knuckling it, literally, like wishing I could get high every day, you know?
And at this point, you're on opiates or heroin?
At that point, I was shooting methamphetamine, oxys, which is basically, heroin. But here where I grew up, you guys, they didn't have heroin back then. It was like this powder heroin, and you could only get it from like certain people, and they would have it in these little capsules. So I had only did Roxy's, intravenous roxycodone, and methamphetamine and benzos. When I gave birth to my son, I was high on methamphetamine, methadone, and Xanax. But I was a poly substance abuser. So like I was always going real high, and then I would be high for days and be up for days. And then I would go real low and use downers. And so it's up and down, up and down. And that also caused me like a bunch of psychosis and hallucinations and like walking up and down the road. I could tell you guys stories for days, but I've been like walking down the road, and they found me walking one time, and I had been up for like 4 or 5 days. I say they, the police found me, and they took my phone away from me, and they called my mom, because I had my mom's number there. And my mom said, take her to the emergency room, please. So they called the ambulance, and I got in the ambulance, and this is how bad it was. I was hallucinating that the ambulance drivers were trying to hold me down and shoot me up with cocaine. Like I was out of it, you guys. I was probably like 110 pounds, and I had on boxers and a wife beater and flip flops, and I was just like all looking like this. I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but I see people that are like this now. And I'm like, damn, that's what I was like. And I went into a coma. So that stuff happened all the time. Like I've been doing this thing on TikTok where I tell these stories of all the crazy shit that I did in my active addiction and how bad it got. And I could tell you guys stories for days. It's insane. But when I stopped using with my son, when I was trying to breastfeed, because that's why I stopped. I took my little boy home, and I had to start, my family was pressuring me. My mother-in-law, they wanted me to breastfeed. Everybody's telling me how breastfeeding is the best for the baby. And I felt so pressured. And so I started breastfeeding. And so I stopped everything cold turkey. And let me just tell you guys this, like I was already struggling so much with postpartum depression. Like it was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. For 90 days, like not using drugs after I had used drugs for so many years, and being locked up in this room upstairs because my mother and father-in-law were living with us still. And I didn't feel comfortable. My mom and dad weren't here. They were in New York. And I had this newborn baby that I'm trying to like learn how to take care of and all this stuff. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I did not know how to stay sober. I mean, I had stayed sober before for like 6 months, one time for 9 months, but I really never had any significant time of sobriety. And so I relapsed after 90 days, and I put Nate on formula, and I started leaving him here with my mother-in-law and leaving him with my husband and not coming back for like 3 days at a time. And I remember I went to this guy's house that I was friends with in this high rise, and I was high on meth, and I needed a syringe. I didn't have a syringe, and he had one, and he said, I have hepatitis C. You don't want to use after me. And I was like, it doesn't matter. And I used after him, and that's how I caught hepatitis C. I know it was that night, because when I gave birth to my son, I didn't have hepatitis C. But after I gave birth to him, I went to that guy's house, and I caught it that night. And I remember being gone from the house at that apartment high rise for like 4 or 5 days with all those people. And my friend came in and she was like, what the hell are you doing? You have a kid, you have a husband, not a husband, but a boyfriend at home, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, I don't know. I just didn't think I could get sober and stay sober. And she owed me some money. This is how it all started. This girl owed me some money. Me and her used to smoke crack together, do cocaine together. She was my running buddy. And she got pissed off at me because I went and collected the money from her boyfriend. And so I went and got the money from her boyfriend, and she got mad at me, and she called Child Protective Services on me. And they came to my house. I guess they came to my house like 3 times. I don't remember because I didn't answer the door. And they left a note on the last time on the door. And it said something like, the Child Protective Services Agency has been by. You need to contact us right away. And I knew right then, the moment I saw that letter, I was like, this shit is I'd never had this kind of, like, this is really real. Like, getting my kid taken away. Like, I could go to prison. I can go to treatment as many times as you need me to go. I can go to county jail. I can get pulled over and get my car impounded. I can do anything. But, like, this was serious. This was, like, real serious. And so I called the office at the Child Protective Service offices, and they told me I needed to come in with my child and give them a drug test. And so I did what they told me to do. And I gave them a drug screen, and they sent somebody over to drug screen my boyfriend. He's my husband now, but he was my boyfriend at the time. And we both failed. And they were like, it's okay. We're not going to take your son away, but we need you to get into treatment. We need you to change your life. Right. And so I was like, okay, I can do that. The next day they came back and they were like, we changed our mind. We're taking your kid. And I was like, fuck, now this is really getting real. And they wouldn't let my son go with family. For some reason, they did not want him going with my mother-in-law. So, which she's like a great person. I didn't understand that. But so he went to foster care. And the day that I had to give him over to the people at the foster care place, I went and got help. I went straight to detox. I got my caseworker, and I said, please take me somewhere, because I need to go in now. If I don't go in somewhere right now, I'm going to go get high, and then I'm never going to get sober for my son. Like, I don't think y'all understand. If I hadn't gone right then, I would have went and got high, and I would have never made it back. And so she dropped me off at detox. I stayed there for 5 days. And then on the 5th day, they were going to let me out, and it was a Sunday. And I was like, you cannot let me out of here. It is Sunday. I have to go from here straight into rehab, or I'm not going to go. Yeah. And because I've been this treatment like 6 times, I already knew how to do everything, And so they were like, you know what, we'll let you stay another night. And they just let me stay the night there, another night. And I went straight into treatment after that. I stayed in treatment for 30 days, but I was there. The first 2 weeks I was there, I relapsed on Xanax as I was hustling. I was sober, completely clean and sober, in treatment, and I had all these, there's no excuse, but I had all these court dates I was going to over my Nathaniel and everything, my son, and my husband was coming and picking me up for those dates, and he was still using while I was in treatment. Ooh. And so I made him go. I said, you better not come up here until you bring me pills too. So he did. And I got caught. After about 2 weeks of slipping through the cracks, they finally caught me. And they were like, we're going to kick you out. And I was for sure they were going to. They made me wait a week to tell me whether they were going to kick me out or not. So, but they didn't end up kicking me out. They let me stay. And so I only had 2 weeks sober when I got out of treatment. And my husband came and picked me up, you guys. And he was on Suboxone. He went and got on Suboxone while I was in treatment, which for him was a good idea because he wasn't doing anything. He wasn't going to treatment. He wasn't in therapy. Like, he needed something to help him, right? But I was in treatment. And so he came and told me he got on Suboxone, and I was really pissed off about it at first, because I had never done it in a therapeutic way. Like, I had only used Suboxone when I was in my active addiction. And it was like, because I couldn't find anything else, And so I was really, really mad about it. I didn't know whether I agreed with that or not, because I had only been taught one way to recover. And that's really the only way I thought there was to get sober. And so I went back and forth with it in my mind for a little bit. And then we met with my therapist, my doctor, and my caseworker. And when the CPS caseworker told me that, it's imperative that I stay sober and not relapse, because they were looking back at everything in my life. They were looking at the fact that I'd been to prison. They were looking at the fact that I had been to treatment centers multiple times. They were just going through all this stuff, trying to hold it against me to show that I wasn't a mother, that I wasn't fit to have my child. And it was really stressful. Like, Child Protective Services is no joke. Like, their job is to prove that you can't be a good parent to your kid. That's what the attorney ad litem's job was, to prove that I wasn't fit. And that's what she was set out on doing. So I ended up getting on maintenance medication, Suboxone. And at first, I did really good with it for about 3 years. And then about the 3.5 mark, I started to say, maybe I can do this without Suboxone. And so I started tapering in March of 2019. I was on 12 milligrams, and I'm currently on 2 milligrams. And I have been tapering that whole time. Sometimes I'll do good and I'll be going down. And then I'll go back up a milligram, then I'll go back down. But I just keep going, trying to move forward and go down. So that way I get lower and lower and lower. And I just share about that and recovery and talk about what my life is about and try to stay on the right path. But I hadn't picked up no drugs. I hadn't done any dope. I haven't drank any alcohol in 5.5 years almost. So
Yeah,
girl.
sounds like
a big accomplishment for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what is poly like? Me. So the type of person I am, it sounds like you kind of just mixed everything. You didn't really have a specific drug of choice. Heroin kind of took over maybe towards the end. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, it started out like it's always been together. I've always taken things all together. Like, I've always taken benzos, and then I would be on Xanaxes, and I would be shooting oxys, and I would overdose all the time doing that. But I never had, like, it wouldn't matter. If my drug dealer was like, I'm out of oxys today, but I've got some crystal methamphetamine, then I would just take it. It didn't really matter to me. All I wanted to do was feel not the way I was feeling. I wanted to be high all the time. And I could be having a perfectly great day and not have anything wrong going on in my life, but I wanted to be high. I really liked being high. I liked the way drugs made me feel.
Same.
Like, for a really long time, they made me feel really freaking good. But what I didn't like about drugs is that for some reason, I can't maintain my life on drugs. So that's why I had to stop doing them. Like, I cannot lie to you guys. Like, I loved being high on stimulants because it gave me energy. It kept my weight down. It made me feel like I could do freaking anything, but I cannot stay my life in check. I will lose my job. I will get stuck peeping out the window for 6 hours. I will be walking down the road hallucinating and stuff because I don't know when to stop. I don't know when to not do this or do that. It's like I cannot control my intake of substances once I get going. And I don't know anybody that can. If you can, I'm proud of you, but I cannot do that. Some people try to tell me that they can do that. I look at them outside. If you're shooting drugs in your veins, I beg to differ. I don't think you can handle it. I don't think you can control anything.
Yeah, that's weird because, like, when I'm kind of like the person, if I find a drink that I like, I stay with that drink. Say, like, watermelon rock stars. if I go to a buffet, not a buffet, but like a cafe, it's always like chicken and what is it called? Chicken fried steak.
Yeah.
I stick to one thing. So when I was a meth addict, it was meth and that was it. I quit smoking weed. I quit drinking. It was just like, give me meth or give me death, And then once I became an alcoholic, I found whiskey. Once I kind of partied a little bit, but once I hit whiskey, it was like whiskey or nothing. I didn't really mix. Well, if I was drunk and you put drugs in front of my face, I'd do it. But it's weird. I never really mixed. What is poly? Like, what does that do? I don't.
I think it means more. Poly means multiple or more than 5. I think is what it means. I'm not sure, but Dr. B was talking about it on a video the other day. Poly substance abuse and then polypharmacy is like when a person is prescribed multiple medications, or they're abusing multiple drugs. And I've just always mixed everything. I've never had I was never one of those people that was like, oh, you don't have cocaine. Sorry. I was like, oh, you got crack. I'll take it. Because I remember now when I was younger, there was a time where I would look at you and say, oh, I'm not going to do that because I was scared, right? Or I had never done it before. But once I had really pretty much tried everything, or I wasn't like a person that would say no to anything, and that really caused me a lot of problems throughout my life because I would mix substances and I was very careless when I was using, and I tried to tell people that are still in active addiction to be safe, when they're using, and to have somebody with them and to practice, have Narcan and practice, harm reduction. But like I was not using safe. Didn't keep people with me. There was many times where I would use all by myself, and then my mom or somebody would come find me and I would be out cold and my lips blue and all that. Like there's so many times that I should have been not found or been dead. And for some reason, I told these people the other day, I said, don't you know us addicts, we don't die, we multiply.
So true. I learned like a few weeks ago that Narcan actually stops working after a while on people. So you can build
I think it's because of this new fentanyl that they have out. There's this new stuff, you guys. I'm telling you, it's crazy. That it is so. It's really. Fentanyl is very strong and it has a higher affinity to the opiate receptors than a lot of any opiates I know. And when these like EMTs are trying to Narcan people, it's not knocking the fentanyl off their receptor. It's not making them come to, because that shit is so strong that it's staying on there. And so they're having to hit them with like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Narcan nasal sprays or whatever.
Wow.
Dang.
It's like from China or something. I don't know. I've heard, I talk to a lot of kids that are like still in active addiction that are taking those pressed fentanyl pills that they get, and carfentanil. There you go, Sam. And they tell me about it. And then I've also like I don't induct anybody onto Suboxone, but like when Dr. B has somebody get onto Suboxone from fentanyl, he will have them connect with me and I will be like a supportive service. So let's say at night, they're going through the gigs and they're like really sick. They can call me at 2 a.m. and I'll answer the phone and talk to them and try to stay on the phone with them until they feel better and all that stuff. And we've had several people that have gone from fentanyl onto Suboxone, and they really had a hard time transitioning because it was just like not leaving their system for some reason.
I want to just mention that really quick. You guys hear that Nicole said she supports people in recovery, her channel, her TikTok, her Facebook group. We're all together, right? We all recover better together. We all have different personalities. We all fit with each other. And that's kind of like the theme of Recovering Addict the next couple of months, is to pull all the recovery people together so that we all know that there's multiple places upon multiple places to go, no matter what, if you're suffering. Nicole's a great contact. You guys make sure you follow her YouTube and TikTok. And like she said, she has a community that's just as loving. I mean, we're all the same community, right? We're all
the same people,
the same team and all that good stuff.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, I just kind of am more like, I'm really open-minded. When I first started my YouTube channel, I was balls to the wall, 12 steps, you guys. I have a whole bunch of like step study stuff on my channel and stuff. But as I stayed sober and the more like my beliefs changed and I started focusing on what I really want to support people with, and that is people that are like me that are on medication assisted treatment, because I'm literally living that life and walking it. And so I wanted to focus my efforts on helping people that were like a lot like me, And so I support all recovery. It doesn't matter like what program you work or what kind of recovery you do. I just think that my focus is really just improving every single day. And I think that if you're making improvements and you're moving forward, then you're doing great. Just keep doing what you're doing. Everything, just keep going forward. Don't get discouraged. Don't beat yourself up. Like, I've gotten really far away from the whole, like, I don't really focus a lot on like hey, I've been sober for 799 days, or hey, I had a relapse and I had to start over my time. Like, I'm just really here, but I just really want people to keep trying to do better. And that's what my focus is. You know what I mean?
I love it. Yeah.
I'm just open-minded.
It's good. It's good to have your sobriety date and clean date, but it's also good to forgive yourself, because when we struggle, times are tough, times are crazy right now. And, and if you have to use medicated assistance, then it's your program. You got to do what you got to do to live your best life. And if that's what you got to do it, real quick.
And you're going to know, you can tell if people are like sober, if they're not sober, you know what I mean? Like, you can sit here and see me, like, I'm very consistent. I always, do, like, I'm living a good life. I'm recovering today, and there's a difference between, you can stop doing drugs and alcohol and still be high as hell and messed up in your mind. You can still be, hey, Link, you can still be like a person who's not doing anything and not recovering at all. And you just took away the drugs and the alcohol and you're still an asshole.
Exactly. So true.
Yep.
Yeah. Real quick, Samantha, did you say you have 90 days today? If so, I got a video I want to play for you.
I think she did.
Brad says, love that thought. A friend of mine told me a while back, to me, it's not about counting days. It's about my sobriety. His thoughts on it made me think it differently. Yeah. Some people say if you woke up, you have more sober time than I do if you woke up earlier than me.
There's a saying that my counselor used to say when I was in treatment way back in the day. She said, don't count the days, make the days count.
Yo, I like that. Yep. Okay, I'm going to play a little video for Samantha because she got 90 days today.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Samantha, this is for you. Whenever you find yourself doubting how far you can go, just remember how far you've come. Remember everything you've faced, all the battles you've won, and the fears you have overcome.
Keep coming back.
Samantha.
Yay.
Y'all
aren't going to get any of that fancy stuff on my channel.
I can't help it. When I do stuff, I just got to go crazy.
I was going to say your video looks very good. I'm just
it's
throwing that out there. Your nice look lazy.
Oh, it's because I got a brand new phone.
That looks good.
Thanks. I bought this phone, cost me damn near $2,000, but I was like, you know what? I am investing in it. I do everything for my phone. My job is on my phone, everything. And so I was like, I'm going to buy the newest phone that I can get, and I got it. So, but I can do that today because I'm sober. I never had that much money before. I got money in the bank. This dude tried to clown me the other day. He said something like, he goes, oh, all you do is focus on something about addiction or something. And I was saying 5 years and this is what I've accomplished. And I was sharing with him all the things that I've accomplished and why I focus on recovery so much, because this is what's got me to this point. Like, I'm not going to stop doing what I've been doing that has helped me stay sober this long.
Right.
So that's why I just keep on, like, the main thing that I do is I am so open and talk about everything. Like, I don't hide anything, and that has saved my life time and time again. When my husband was struggling a couple months ago and he was doing the most, I was on my channel crying my eyes out talking about it because I needed support. I needed somebody to talk to. Yeah. Because I was going to go get high. I was going to go and do something stupid. And so instead of doing that, I just came on my channel and talked about it. I use my channel as like a diary.
Yeah, me too. It helps too. I get on here and vent every once in a while if I'm having a dark day, or I get in the Discord and, all we got, and I utilize it too, because we're no heroes just because we're on camera.
No, not at all.
Struggle just like everybody else.
We're all broken people. Broken people helping people.
And we have to remember that, though. And I think some people, it's easy to get caught up and think, oh, well, I'm doing so well. I've been sober for this long. People are looking up to me. If you don't use that in the right way and use it as, like, for me, it's an accountability. If you use it in a negative way and you're boosting your ego and you're thinking that your stuff don't stink all the time, then that is going to be your downfall, is going to be all the things that you've been doing to help others, it's going to take you down. But if you're humble and you realize that, like, we are all exactly the same. Like, somebody who is just getting sober today is the same way I am. Like, I am the same way you are. I could literally leave today and go get high right now. Like, I could leave this little live stream and go use. Like, I'm not doing anything that anybody else cannot do, and I think that I remind myself that all the time. It's not hard for me to remember that, because like, I see what happens to people when they're struggling, and I know how easy it is to fall back. All it takes is one day where you're having a day where you're just not connected, and it's that easy. I was talking to everybody the other night in a group that we had, and I was telling them that my addiction was telling me, like, you can just get high with Neil. Maybe that's what you should do. Maybe you should get high with your husband and y'all can like connect, and then maybe you'll understand what he's going through. I was literally sitting on the toilet, y'all, contemplating taking pills. And then I was like, oh my God, dude. Like, you're literally thinking about taking Xanax so you can like be high too. And then I was like, wow, I would literally lose everything. Like, it's just so, that's how crazy the disease of addiction is, because it was telling me, like, I'm telling you guys, that's my own mind telling me that it would be okay to use, so that way I could say, hey, I know what you're feeling, I know what you're going through.
Yeah. I've even had people challenge me. You know how you get the people that just come at you kind of funny. Well, if you're so strong in your sobriety, why don't you jump on live stream and have a drink with me? I'm like, oh yeah, right. I got plans.
What? That's stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, if I start drinking, all this goes away. Gone.
And the thing about it is, like, my husband has struggled with his sobriety, but he has me to hold him accountable and to keep us afloat.
Right.
If I get high too, this whole ship's going down, baby. We're sinking real fast.
Oh yeah.
So somebody's got to be the responsible one. And I hate to sound like the martyr or whatever, but that's like, I have to hold it together. I sound like my dad, dude, because I'm just like, I'm constantly freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, what do I need to do? How can I do this? Like, it's finally kind of getting better. It's getting better. That the relapses are getting farther apart with my husband, but it's like, I have so many resources. I have treatment centers that are willing to take him for free. But if my husband doesn't want to do it, I can't freaking make him.
Nope.
You're not in control. So I got a question. How do you guard yourself? So if he relapses, I mean, in essence, you're pretty close to substances and possible relapse yourself. How do you protect yourself? And then how do you support him at the same time? Knowing that, in my opinion, like, keeping your recovery first is probably more important than, I don't know. How do you look at it and handle that situation if anybody else out there is dealing with the same thing?
Well, I did find drugs in his wallet one day. I found some Xanax bars, and I took them and flushed them down the toilet, like, automatically. I looked at it for a second, and then I flushed it down the toilet.
Oh, good.
And honestly, I talked to everybody I know about it. I like literally called my doctor. I called Dr. B. I called Dr. G. I called Austin. Those are my three bosses. I told them what was going on. Dr. B had a meeting with Neil, kind of like a little therapy session where they could talk together. And then I had one with Dr. G. And then I called a bunch of people that I'm friends with that are girls in recovery. And then I told the Real Talk Recovery family about it. And I mean, I just keep on telling myself, like, it's not worth it. The main thing that saves me from doing anything is my son. And he means more to me than anything. I'm not going to risk my child for a temporary fix.
Right.
I have just reached a point in my life where my son is more important to me than getting high. I will not, if I get high, I'm giving my son over to I'm giving him up. That to me is the ultimate spit in my child's face. I might as well just go adopt him out to some other family. Like, I would be the ultimate piece. I will not, I'm telling you guys, I have seen drugs. My husband has came home fucked up out of his mind, and I am not going to be the one. It gives me that much more power to not do it, to be the only one who is doing the right thing. Like, I am not going to let my son live an unstable life. I'm not going to let him see his dad all like that. Like, I am the buffer. I am the person that's making sure that doesn't happen. Like, that's so important to me, because losing my son because of my a drug addiction was the worst thing that ever happened to me in my whole entire life.
Yeah.
And I don't never want my son to ever have to go to foster care again. He was only 1 year old when he went. He doesn't remember it, but now he's 6. If they took him away from me now, that would fuck him up for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm not going to do that. I will not let that happen. Like, I'm so dedicated to not letting that happen. This year has been the worst year of my life. Okay. It's been the worst year of my life, and it's been the best year of my life. Professionally, I've got an amazing job. I got everything that I could ever want professionally, but in my personal life, with my husband, with recovery, with the stress that I've been having because of the stupid crap that's going on in the world, it has been the hardest year of my life. But I have not gotten high over it. I have not picked up drugs no matter what. I have no motivation. I'm overweight. I struggle every day to get out of bed, but I do not get high. I just push through it. Like, I'm not going to go get high. That would make my situation 10 times worse. And people will tell me, oh, meditate, exercise, go for a walk. This is like a depletion of serotonin and dopamine in my brain. Like, I don't have the chemicals to make myself feel okay. Like, this is a literal problem. But I just don't, nothing, even though I feel like complete crap, I'm still not going to go out and get high. Like, I would rather feel like crap and be a mom to my son and protect him and keep him safe than to get high and lose my son.
Amen.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the part of the show where we bring Cassie on to give her quote of the day. That was powerful words, Cassie. I saw you back there.
How are you? Well, very touching. And so let me touch on that. What is your name? What's her name? What's your name?
Nicole.
Oh, Nicole.
Miss Nicole. I'm Cassie. So I just heard a little bit, but what you have is my quote is, you have Mamba mentality. I don't know if you follow sports, but Kobe Bryant is like my hero, my idol, right? So he has Mamba mentality. In Kobe's words, he said, that's a constant quest to be the best versions of oneself. And that's what you're doing. You don't have to exercise and all the other stuff that the world says will make you better. You know what's going to make you better. And by having that Mamba mentality, you're giving me chills. Like, you have Mamba mentality, and it's literally, my quote fit perfect today. So you have that, lady, and that's all it takes. You just keep pressing forward, and you got this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I try.
You're very welcome. No, there isn't no try. Take that out of your vocabulary. You are doing it. You are executing every day. You do that.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, that touched me. A little emotional there. Yeah. My heart beating and everything. That's beautiful. So that was for you. The quote was for you. So I'm done. I'm out of here dropping my mic.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
I am doing it. And I
You
will
are.
not. It is my son's. It is not wanting to fail my son. I don't want to ever have.
You're not. Don't even say that. You're not. That's out of your vocab. You're done. The failure. He was one. He doesn't remember. He's never gonna. You have Mamba mentality every day. Teach that to him. Instill that in him. You're doing your job. That's it, babe. That's all you gotta do.
Yeah.
Keep doing it. All right, I'm done. This is the LT show. Let's bring it together. And we're going to continue to spread that love. Put your heart in the middle right here. Put your heart in the middle. Okay, we're going to bring it together, and we're going to continue to spread that love. I love you guys so much. You got this.
Love y'all.
Bye. That's my cousin Cassie. She comes on every day about that time and does a quote.
Listen, I'm so sorry if I talk so much, everybody that's watching the show.
No, we love it.
I have not come over here and really talked with LT and them in like 7 months or something. It's been a while. I've been I've been trying to just deal with everything. Like, I was going so hard, and so were y'all. Like, we were going live every single day. We did that for like 6 months, and we were doing it every day. But it got to a point, you guys, where it's just so much, and I just needed to like not do that every single day. And I needed to get excited about helping people in recovery again, because I was getting discouraged. I was getting like just not feeling on fire. And then I went to TikTok, man, and it's like it lit up my whole fire again. It got me excited. It got me excited because they actually like push your content so people actually see our videos, not like they do here on YouTube. YouTube is a joke, a straight joke. It is. I'm telling you, like they literally show your stuff to people who need to see it on TikTok. Like, it's crazy to me. So
I got a quick question for you about your husband.
Oh, real quick. I don't know what's going on with the feedback, y'all. I can hear it too. It's like a little weird echo. But
is it because I'm so loud? If I'm quiet, does that help?
no, I think it's like us coming through your speaker and looping back to us.
Hey, hopefully that will help a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. But sometimes it's
okay. I can't hear you though. Hold on.
For you.
Okay, go ahead. I can hear you now.
Do you have boundaries set so that you're not enabling your husband, and what do those look like? I'm sure you do.
Well, I'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't at first, and I have been the worst enabler because I have been saving him from hitting the floor. I kept on intervening. So this has been going on for over a year, and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. What, baby? Okay, I'm on a TV show, so I'll tell him in just a second, okay? Okay. He thinks I'm on my channel, so he wants me to like tell you all this stuff. Nate had his friend over the other day, you guys, and he busted his head open on the trailer hitch outside, and he had to get 8 stitches. Nate wanted me to tell you all about that.
Yeah, we'll give him a hug for it.
He's okay now. Huh, Nate? Yeah. Okay. So I didn't booger fart man. I didn't have any. I had no boundaries, you guys, because me and my husband, we used together. So we were in our active addiction together, and we got sober together. When we got sober together, my husband was able to stay sober for 2 years straight without any lapses. After those first 2 years, we've been going back and forth ever since. And that's been 3 years. 2 years, because I've been sober for 5 years. So he was sober the first 2 years. Now the last 3 years have just been back and forth, back and forth. It didn't dawn on me until about 5 months ago, that I was helping him maintain to relapse. I kept intervening and calling his job so he wouldn't have to go in, so he couldn't lose his job. Getting the money and taking his bank card so he wouldn't spend all the money out of our bank account. Taking his keys away and driving him to work so that way he won't wreck his car. Just all these things that I was doing, and I didn't even realize that like everything I was doing was helping him to not hit rock bottom. And so it's the hardest thing for me to do is to not control him, because that's what I was doing. We have been reading the Codependent No More book on Sundays, and that's what we have been reading. And I've been reading that, and then each week I read something more in there. It helps me more with the situation. But I finally just got to a point where my husband kept coming home and lying to my face when I already knew that he was high. I already knew that he had went into the bank account. I already knew that he had been on the street where they sell the drugs at, because the location to his phone is hooked up to we are intertwined in everything. Like all of our email addresses are connected, all that. So I could see all these things going on. And then I would give him a second and I'd say, hey, do you have something to tell me? And then he would lie to my face for the whole night, damn near. And then he would finally be honest, because I would already know. And so I just finally got tired of it and got resentful and got angry and didn't want to be around him. Didn't enjoy going and doing like activities with him and my son, because he was literally making me sick, because he was lying to me, and it was making me, pushing me away from him. I was, who wants to be around somebody who's lying to you all the time, like deceiving me, like planning to go get high 2 days before he goes and gets high, and then lying to me when I see the text messages on his phone and all this, And so I just finally called his mom one day and I said, I'm not taking the keys away. I'm going to let him go to his job high right now. I'm going to let him take the money out of the bank account. If he can't pay the bills, then that's on him, because I got my money in savings, baby.
Yeah.
And I got me and my son taken care of. I got a whole savings account of money put back, and I will just let him self-sabotage. And that's what I told him. I said, you are sabotaging our life. You're sabotaging our life by taking out credit cards, by buying all these firearms because you're high or drunk when you buy them, and all this stuff, just like crazy stuff when we're trying to like buy a house and all this stuff. And so I just told him, I just quit enabling him. And now, honestly, he just had a lapse Monday of last week. It was Wednesday last week. And it was the moment I gave him back his card. I gave him back his debit card. And I was like, you know what? It's going to be different. I can feel it. And I gave him back his debit card. And that day he had a lapse. And it was just like, I'm just done. I'm not even going to worry about it anymore. And eventually what will happen is he is either going to wreck his car, lose his job, hurt somebody else, but it won't be me or my son, because I won't let my son go anywhere with him. I won't let him pick my son up from school. Like, I do everything with my child. And that's his child. And it's really unfortunate that it has to be like this, but I have to just take over and let him. If he's going to get better, he's going to get better. If he's not, he's not. And I'm just not going to sit there and let myself lose sleep over it, because I was obsessing to the point where I was like calling him at his job every hour on the hour, looking at our bank account all the time. And I was just like, man, I just got to put some things into place to protect me and my money and my well-being and my son's well-being. And I will just let him do whatever he's going to do.
Yeah, how does it
he
feel?
has to want to be sober. And then I also sat down and I had a heart-to-heart with him, and I told him, I am struggling too. I don't have energy either, babe. It's very hard for me. I don't have like this motivation or anything. And I totally understand. And I know that his job isn't like, it's a stressful job, but it's just not that stressful. I mean, it's groceries. How stressful can it be, really? And what it is my husband he's not being assertive at his job. So they're walking all over him.
Yeah.
So all he has to do is stand up and say, no, I work I'm off today, and leave the phone there. But my husband is a people pleaser, and he hasn't done anything to work on his recovery these whole 5 years. He has literally just done nothing. And so now he doesn't know how to stay sober. He doesn't know how to assert himself. He doesn't know how to not be a people pleaser. He doesn't know how to tell people that are using drugs that he doesn't want them around him. All these things that I've been practicing for the last 5 years, he's been sitting over there with his thumb up his ass, thinking he's going to be able to stay sober on his good looks. And that's not how it works. You cannot stay sober without learning how to stay sober. And he has no idea how to do it. And so I have been trying to encourage him for these 5 years. Come learn, come hang out with us, come go to meetings with us, come do some real talk recovery stuff, come over to Recovering Addict, hang out with the guys, do this, do that. But he isn't going to do it until it's bad. I told him, I said, you're not going to do it until I divorce you. And then you're going to realize that this is going to suck, because it's going to be your second failed marriage. You're not going to be able to see your son unless you can pass a drug screen. And that's just how it'll be.
That's crazy. How does it feel to be on like the flip side? Like, now you're clean, watching a loved one go through addiction.
It sucks.
It's crazy. It's a trip.
It's the hardest thing I've ever been through in my life. I feel so bad for my parents. I feel like such an asshole. I tell my dad and my mom every day how much I love them, because I have put them through so much pain. It's the worst pain in the world when you watch somebody that you love that has so much potential, that is so smart, that has so many people that love them, but they don't love themselves. And that's why they're doing what they're doing. It's the hardest thing to watch. It's so discouraging. And then I forget that it's a disease, and I go into my mind and I think, it's because he doesn't love us. It's because he doesn't care about our son. It's because he doesn't want to be a part of this family. But I know that's not true, but that's what my mind tells me,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's really difficult to see it happening right in front of your eyes. And the only thing I can do is, like I said, be proactive and protect me and my son. And, I would be lying to you. My husband's not a violent person. He's not a person who comes home and is like, just out of his, it's nothing like that, you guys. Like, it's literally like he comes home and he falls asleep, but I know, you know what I mean? I know that he took benzos and that's why he's over there going in his sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, anyway, sorry.
No, that's not good. But it
It's
is
difficult.
counterintuitive, huh? Like you want to do everything to protect them, but you know that you have to step back and let them experience the consequences. That's very counterintuitive.
It's super hard to do because I'm so used to intercepting everything. Even when we were in our addiction, I intercepted everything. Even when we would meet people, I was always the person that was like getting the stuff, or if we got ripped off, I would be the one that went back and jumped through the window and get the stuff from the guy and like run out of there. You know, it was like always me who was doing everything. And I feel like we're right back to that where I'm like trying to save him or trying to help him or trying to get him to see the light. It's like,
well, it sounds like you're doing the right things.
Yeah. That's tough.
He's a good person. When Neil's sober, you guys, he's such a great guy. He's even a great guy when he's not sober. That's how great of a guy he is. Like, he's a good dude. You know what I mean? But I just cannot let him do these things without consequences. Like, I don't want to be with somebody who's using drugs. Like, I got away from that for a reason. You know, I don't want to be in that lifestyle anymore because it's nothing but a dead end. It's not, I don't want him to die. And that's what's going to happen because my husband is very ignorant to any kind of street anything. He's your straight up preppy white boy. He just doesn't know anything about anything. And so somebody could sell him something and he could take it and die.
Yeah,
you know?
It's scary these days what's out there.
It's very scary. It's happened to him before where people have damn near held him at gunpoint and robbed him and took his truck and stuff. Like, my husband is just not, he's not street smart. He doesn't need to be out there doing anything like this. He needs to be at home with me.
That's awesome. So this, I know that you've been working real hard lately since we stopped doing every night lives and we both kind of throttled back that schedule. What type of work you doing, like with the doctors and Dr. B and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I do a lot of stuff with them. Dr. B has a treatment center in Santa Ana, California, and he also has a harm reduction institute. He also has a medical office. He also has a new thing that he's opening up where we're going to be doing wound care for people who have wounds, abscesses, all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
and
wow.
So he's doing like a lot of work in California to help people who struggle with addiction because it's a vulnerable community. People who don't have resources to get sober, people who don't have, resources to get wounds treated, all that kind of stuff. And so I started working with them in January. And at first it just started out, you guys, as me answering the phones. The 1-800 number that goes to his treatment center would come to my phone and I would answer it. And I would just answer it and I would talk to the person on the other line. If they were calling and they were looking for help, I would help them. Either if they want to come to see us, I would help them come to see us. If they didn't want to come to see us, I would help them find somewhere else to go. Like, I spend hours on the phone every day with people that are calling, looking for help. And that started out with one phone line. And now I have literally like 5 phone lines that come to my phone. Okay. That I'm on I love it though. I love it. I would not change it for the world. Dr. B, Austin, Dr. G, they gave me a job, you guys. I'm a felon. I have drug charges. Like, they took a chance on me and gave me a job. And I had a dead end job where I was making like $200 every 2 weeks. And they took me under their wing, and now I manage social media accounts. I do the case management with different clients. I answer the phones and help people that are needing help. It's like a jack of all trades kind of thing. Yeah. I got to fly out there in July and spend the week and like literally got to go outside and help people that are struggling in active addiction.
Wow.
And it was so awesome, you guys. It was so cool. And I am so fortunate because I never in a million years, like I used to look at people and say, oh, you're working for a treatment center. But I'm telling you, I'm not working for a treatment center. This is my family. Like these people, when I'm struggling, they call me and check on me. When I started going through all this with my husband, they were the first people to step up and say, we'll help you. What can we do? And they've really been so good to me and they've helped me so much. And I'm so appreciative to be there and to be a part of it's just growing and growing and growing and growing. And I feel so fortunate to be able to even answer the phones and talk to people, because I get to hear people when they're at their most vulnerable points. They're calling and they're desperate. They've been calling people all day long. Nobody takes their insurance. Nobody does this. Nobody does that. And so I'm on the phone and I get a lot of people who call and they have nothing. They're destitute. They have no money. What can I do to help them? How can I help them find somewhere to go? And it's been challenging, but I have so many more resources now. I have places where I know people that will take people for free now, which it's just awesome. It's been a learning experience, but I really enjoy doing it. So
what's up, Alan? That's so cool, so inspirational. All because you're sober. You wouldn't be doing
If I hadn't started my YouTube channel, this would never have happened.
Right. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of crazy opportunities as well.
It's all because of the YouTube channel and being able to get my name out there. And that's what I tell people all the time. Like, if you're somebody who's just starting to tell your story and you're getting discouraged, just listen to me. I only have 6,000 people on my YouTube channel, but I'm telling you, dude, I have been working on this for 4 years, grinding, getting my name out there, sharing my story with other people, standing up to people who say, you're not sober because you're on Suboxone. Like I will go toe to toe with anybody. Put me in front of a doctor. I'll go toe to toe with them. Like I have been practicing and learning and talking to people and so much just so I can help other people. And that was for free. I wasn't working for anybody. That was 4 years of hitting the pavement hard, working a regular 9-to-5 job and doing this on my free time for nothing, just because somebody else did it for me. That's the only reason. And it helps me. Like, I don't think people understand, like, I do what I do because I need to stay sober and because it helps remind me why I don't want to go back out and get high. Like every person I talk to who's like destitute, who's crying, who's struggling, it makes me remember like, damn, man, I remember what I felt like in that position and I don't want to go back there. And so that's one of the main things about the 12-step programs that I really believe are true. It's like you have to help others to stay sober.
Oh, yeah.
Like you have got to do some kind of service work where you're getting outside of your own head and your own selfishness and do things to benefit others, like for real, because that's what helps me the most. Talking about how I'm feeling and helping other people 100% saved my life.
Same here. Totally agree. Well, awesome. That's an hour.
You talked for a whole hour.
I'm sorry. Did I take up all the time?
No, I'm glad. That's why I love having you on here.
I love you guys. I really appreciate it, you guys. And like, seriously though, like if anybody's struggling, I tell everybody this, like, you don't have to go to treatment to get sober. Okay. You don't have to go into treatment. You don't have to go to some ritzy 30-day, 90-day, 60-day, whatever treatment center. Like you can get sober at your house. You can get into the recovery community that we have here online. And I'm telling you, if you put in the work and you get connected with these people, you can stay sober. I've seen so many people do it in the last couple of years, for real.
Yeah. 100%. Awesome. Thank you, Alan, for the super chat. Oh, cool. Well, we're going to say the Serenity Prayer if you want to stick on.
Okay.
All right. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage
to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Amen. Awesome. Well, stick on here for a second, Nicole, and I will pop back after I shut the show down and talk to you for a second.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming.
All right. Bye, y'all.
All right, y'all. Until Thursday when Jake is taking over the show and whatever he's got going on, I'll be with him too in the background. Do not put yourself in a high-risk situation. Stay strong, work your program, and remember, we recover better together.